G'day YouTube, how the heck we doing? It is Foul Play here and welcome back for another video. Alright, so this is a recent analysis of the successful decks in the modern metagame. In a recent Nikachu video, he's gone through, he's done the groundwork, he's come up with this. So we can see like Yawgmoth absolutely dominating, Amulet running right, no surprises there. Actually a pretty big resurgence in Living End. Quite a few copies of Living End, and that is a very scary deck for us. As a result, today we are going to be playing with Endurance. So, you know, your opponent goes for their Living End, you go ahead and slap away their graveyard, get an Endurance in your own via the evoke mechanism, and then you just continue attacking them like nothing ever happened. Now, another contender potentially for the graveyard I've seen popping up in a lot of different lists, a lot of different archetypes, is Stone of Eretech. This is good against Yawgmoth combo, right? That's not what we're going to be running today, but it's just one to keep in mind for the future. Burn is also rather prevalent, so we're going to keep in Dromoka's command as a next level for their deflecting palms. And to make all the room for this Endurance, we're going to be removing our March About the Worldly Light and 2 copies of Gadok Teague as well. Now, Tron's been up there quite a bit, but honestly, I think Stony Silence has just been pretty solid for us, and I'm willing to go with this, giving its like wider application than what Gadok Teague has. Alright, outside of that, we are still testing Canopy Cover in the main deck. Now, this is going to be able to be triggered onto our Light Pause after a 2-mana aura. In addition to that, it can actually be pretty effective against Shadow Sphere when your creatures lose Hexproof, they don't actually lose the text that gives them Hexproof, because this card does not have Hexproof printed on it, and it will keep protection throughout. We've also got our usual 6 copies of Totem Armor in there for that dress down in Murktide. Other than that, there's some intricacies. You can ask me about them in the comments. Let's get into this league. Alright, match number 1. We won the die roll here versus Sugar Mountain. We see this hand. This looks like a decent keep to me. Let's go ahead and get into things. We'll lead on the Scout here over the Bogle on the slight chance our opponent's running a Spreading Seas. Windswept Teeth. Okay, this could just be an Omnath pile or something of that description. No need to Temple Garden just yet. Go ahead, Rancor, Ethereal Armor, attack for 5. It's only worse if we hit like Daybreak Coronet next turn and we're not able to double aura with 3 white symbols. Otherwise, it's 1 extra damage this turn, and we just get to be aggressive, which is really where our deck wants to be. Savvy Triome. Now, I believe this means Domain Zoo. See a Hallowed Fountain now, so everything but green. So Zoo would theoretically have green as a priority. Wall of Omens. It's just like 4-color control pile. Okay. That's a pretty good one. Well, it's not a Daybreak Corridor, and we're pretty grateful for that. Opponent just looks like they're yielding to us as well, so it's actually going to be exactly lethal in the air right now. So, yeah, we'll steal that game 1 away. A reminder, if you find this video entertaining or informative, please consider subscribing for more content like this. Alright, so, Stony Silence. I think there's a large likelihood that they're probably running things like Engineered Explosives in their deck, just in the blind here. Obviously, our opponent is on a brew, so there's no deck list to show you guys this video. I'm going to take out 1 Light Pause and 1 Sentinel's Eyes, Vigilance also not being a very important card here. Alright, this has some pretty strong parallels between our last hand and this one. Obviously, no Ethereal Armor just yet. Alright, so we'll start with the Windswept Teeth to preserve life total a little bit. I think if they're like running out of Triome turn 1, I'm not concerned about Blood Moon, so we'll just ignore that card. Alright, opponent cracks. There's the Wall of Omens onto the battlefield. They draw a card up to 6 in hand. And we see a Spider Umbra off the top. I think the likelihood of Light Pause resolving and being all good and things like that is probably pretty low. We definitely want a Rancor, and then it's one of these 2 auras on the side. I think we even just play out this Spider Umbra, because like First Strike's more important as a start than Reach for us. And we'll assume one of these gets like answered or removed, and in addition to that, we'll also try and avoid playing the other one where possible until an explosive resolves, and then we can get that protection back down again. Alright, no blocks from our opponent. We expect them to do like Ephemerate tricks. Trample's really good into like jump block Ephemerate, because we can just assign the damage to the player. Hooray! Hallowed Fountain in tapped, passing to us. Currently no blue mana up. Potential Force of Negation. Potential Bowmasters. Sure, so we'll just go ahead. I think we'll just jam Daybreak Coronet here. Save Light Pause for a rainy day. I guess also Leyline Binding is a very real thing our opponent could be doing. They only have 4 land types, so it will cost 2 mana to target. They can't Leyline Binding both our auras on the creature in response to a Daybreak. Alright, so we get in for an attack for 7. Any response? Bowmasters, Leyline Binding. Alright, I guess if we're expecting Leyline Binding, obviously there's potential for Force of Vigor to deal with it later on. Maybe over the Stony Silence. Hit our opponent to 11. I think we play out the other Bogle. Okay, opponent land cracks, and what is this? Idyllic Grange. Enters the battlefield untapped, put a 1/1 counter on target creature you control. Alright, so the wall is growing. Oh, we're versing a Sahili combo deck. So Fetahir Guardian would go infinite, so it's quite important we take Sahili off the battlefield. Guess we just crack pre-combat, do some stuff right. This might be hard to get off the battlefield, hey? We don't quite have the damage to push through. So we need to at least put this scout up to 5, force the chump block on the Wall of Omens. Light Pause, what do we want to get? Ethereal Armor Look to close the game out. Bad against Leyline Binding. If we're ignoring Leyline Binding, I guess Griffspoon. We can Griffspoon on our creature and close the game out after that. I think send both at the Sahili. Alright, so our opponent is blocking the big scout. They are potentially, yep, they're losing their Wall of Omens. No Ephemerate there. If they have Fetahir Guardian, we just scoop because that's an infinite combo, and it looks like they do. Alright, there it is. That's the card. And on to sideboarding. Alright, so now with more information about our opponent's deck, we can have a look here at a Sahili combo deck. Our opponent's one has Wall of Omens. This list does not. We can see One Ring, Leyline Binding, Ren plus probably a Beseiju lock, if not from the main, from the side there. Chalice of the Voids, Leshnord's Explosives. Okay. Alright, so I think we're still happy to have some copies of Stony Silence in the deck. I don't think we want all 3. Likewise with the Force of Vigors, I think we're happy bringing in a couple of copies, but not all 3. Gadok could be pretty decent here. It stops our opponent from casting the One Ring. It also stops them from casting Leyline Binding, Prismatic Ending. Unfortunately, Solitude can remove it, Teferi can bounce it, so it's not like a super hard lock. In addition to these 2 we took out before, we're going to take out an additional Light Pause, a Spirit Mantle, and the Canopy Cover. See this hand, it's just not aggressive enough, attacking for 3 on turn 2, no follow-up. See if we can find something better. I consider this like slightly better, right? Beseiju, Windswept Teeth. Ditch the Force, keep the Beseiju. Maybe. Alright. We want like 1 interaction, but we also probably want double white mana. So I think Force of Vigor has to go there. Sentinel's Eyes off the top. Not a bad find. We're not like crazy concerned about our life total, right? But I guess there's no hugely good reason to just shock an extra 2 damage in case the game goes long and grindy. Alright, opponent gets Spyro's headquarters. It looks like they do have all 5 colors as well. This one has green. Alright, so now we see Flooded Strand, Cracked into Plains, Spreading Seas on our Temple Garden. Goodbye green mana. Opponent drawing a card. Oh god. Alright, hold up. Instant speed Besage on the Spreading Seas. It's pretty amusing. Another Daybreak Coronet just to really clunk up the board here. Never mind me. I don't actually have any green mana to get rid of that Spreading Seas with. Opponent Prismatic Ending on our Hyena Umbra. We find green mana now. Of course, we could just Daybreak attack. I'm going to assume my opponent is holding up Leyline Binding here, and I'm also going to assume they're not going to remove the Sentinel's Eyes in response, and instead they're going to remove the Daybreak Coronet. And I just assume that they're going to misplay it. Or they just don't have Leyline Binding. That works for us as well. They're down to 6. Oh, damn. Opponent with an end of turn brought back, getting their land back. Man, we are on a brew here, aren't we? Explosives on 1. Alright. That's not good for us at all. Well, we knew that was potentially coming. Good news is if we hit like a Light Pause, Sentinel's Eyes can come back. Opponent's 4 in hands, and we're pretty drained of resources now. Windswept Heath, no Dried Arbor in the deck. Feels bad. Alright, looks like our opponent's down to not doing much, and we're also down to not doing much. Our opponent has actually thrown down a million billion lands as well. Just keep track of that. Hard cast on Muldrifter. This seems like a very elementals-focused Sahili combo deck. Flooded Strand. 4 in hand still. Man, I wish I had like more Light Pause in the deck than what we currently have. Hey look, a Light Pause. How long do we reckon this fella's going to stick around for? Alright, so Light Pause resolves. I've just tapped my mana wrong as well, like an absolute bonobo. Exile. We have to get Rancor here, right? Just another aura that reoccurs. Dovin's Veto countering the Sentinel's Eyes. So I guess it didn't hugely matter. Another Dovin's Veto would be an absolute beating. Ephemerate on Muldrifter. Alright, Sentinel's Eyes resolves. Take this opportunity. Get our trample. Our opponent is down to 2 life. We may just steal this one. Cancel that. Our opponent is down to 1 life. Absolutely game. Hallowed Fountain, out of play, thin in the deck. Ephemerate Rebound, yep. Full grip of 7 cards in hand for our opponent. Halfway through their deck. Evoking another Muldrifter. Now remember, there's fairly high likelihood that our Light Pause could meet a Solitude. If we can resolve Daybreak Coronet and get Spirit Mantle on our Light Pause, we can dodge that. There's the Solitude, just evoked. That's super lame. So we're going to lose our guy. Our opponent is still on 1 life. We're trying to find other creatures right now. Oh my god, opponents played a Mirror of the Sky Rune. They can get stuff back from their graveyards. Better Guardian, Idyllic Grange, Flicker, Grow, Spirit Mantle off the top. Oh god, no, not like this. Well, is our opponent going to combo us this turn? I feel like we probably could have sideboarded better than what we did this match. So yeah, upkeep, free Muldrifter back with the Emeria. And there's the combo. GG's to our opponent. I think it was fairly likely our opponent had a list more resembling this one that we see here. This particular list as well also has like the Idyllic Grange, the Emeria there. But yeah, we got and GG's. On to the next one. Alright, match number 2. We lost the Darrell versing Role Model here. We got a 1-lander, but it's pretty excellent looking 1-lander. I'm going to gamble on it. Looks like Murktide. 1 top, 1 bottom. I'm guessing that's like mana fixing right off the bat. Hey look, we fixed our land. Actually, I think I've sequenced the wrong land here. There's potential for us to get got by a Blood Moon, and that was probably better destined for a basic plains. Looks like our opponent's holding up Counterspell. So we've got double Rancor here. Let's sequence the first one as if to bait the Counterspell. Now I just think we go the Griffspoon now. Alright, we get an attack for 4 damage. We can put our opponent down to 16, slightly winning the race. Alright, opponent has cracked for Xander's Lounge. Does this mean... What does this mean? It can't be Living End because our opponent's not been cycling stuff into the graveyard. I'm very confused. I don't think it's Death Shadow because that wouldn't be running Spybluff Canal. Alright, let's see what our opponent does about a Hyena Umbra. Hyena Umbra resolves. Okay, just keep going. We'll go Spirit Mantle now. These are our like best auras in hand here. We'll save them till next turn. Opponent just concedes. Okay, well we have very little information. Alright, well we have no real information on our opponent's deck. I did try to do a quick Google of the card names that we saw. Fortunately, only dead links sort of appeared. There was this link here, but it went to like a dead link page. So unfortunately, I can't sample a deck. And other than that, there was nothing much coming up. So we'll assume our opponent's going to have discard. We'll assume they'll have like explosives type effects. We'll take out a bunch of Light Paws, a Canopy Cover, a Spirit Mantle, and a Sentinel's Eyes. Opponent mulls to 6. We'll do the same. Ah, yes. Lovely Leyline protection in this hand. Nothing much to protect, though. Alright, beggars can't be choosers. We've got a 5-card hand here. We're going to keep it. Gonna ditch a land, a scout, and keep all the goodies. I clicked on that. Why didn't it go through? Oh, my God. Alright, I'm just going to shame concession to a Thoughtseize at that point. Although it looks like our opponent doesn't have it. Horizon Canopy. Yeah, I'd really love to have had that Leyline in play. I think I need to restart client. I'm getting this bug at the moment where my client just does not input information. And I have to restart it. Alright, Ragavan is our opponent getting us with the Blood Moon here. Ethereal Armor off the top with the Ragavan trigger. 5 in hand. It's going for red. Explosives on 1. Terrifying. Steam Vents shocked in. Ready to pop. Alright, we're going to look to attack for 2 and all that junk. Our opponent's obviously going to look to pop the explosives. It would be better for us if they did that pre-combat so we could have scouted post-combat. But looks like they're doing it end step, which is fairly tight play. Alright, goodbye to Ragavan as well. Watery Graven tapped. You love to see it. Counterspell would be awful right now. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and concede there because it's a whole bunch of not what we're looking for. It didn't really look like our opponent's deck had any discards, so I'm going to remove the Leylines of Sanctity, bringing in the Light Paws and the Canopy Cover, leaving Stony Silence in, and ignoring Blood Moon against our opponent's 3-color deck, which has not been fetching around it. Classic hand, cannot keep that one. Yeah, where are our creatures, man? Imagine not being, like, crippled on resources. Alright, we found a 5 that's a keep. Unfortunately, no Totem Armor. Ditch Canopy Cover. Is that land? Canopy Cover, Sentinel's Eyes. Sentinel's Eyes is so good against Ragavan, though. Canopy Cover, Audacity. Yeah. I don't like it, but I think it has to be done. Alright, so we'll throw caution to the wind. We won't play around Blood Moon. Leading on Windswept Teeth, smacking in. Just wanting to try and conserve life on these Horizon Canopy ticks. Opponent with Preordain, turn 1. 2 cards to the bottom, you love to see it. Light Paws off the top. I think there is 0 chance that that card resolves this turn. And pressure is good. Alright, in for 4. Good protection against Ragavan. No dash available. Preordain. Good. 2 to the bottom again. Alright, they're getting through some junk here. Speaking of some junk, my goodness, that's not what we want to see. Any 1 mana ore off the top? Yeah, hey look, some totem armor. Let's go. Alright, so play that one out. We'll have an attack for 6 now. No force of negation. You love to see it. End of turn. Opponent cracks. Xander's Lounge in play. Alright, we can put our opponent to a virtual 2 here. Griffspoon. I mean, Griffspoon's free. There's large likelihood for counterspell, but it's free. Yep, full on counterspell. Our opponent's spending their mana doing that. I mean, us putting them to like a virtual 2 has to be good for us. I'm assuming they're going to be aggressive and crack because they need access to mana here to stabilize. Another Steam Vents. Still like no threat of Blood Moon. Explosives on 1. Alright, well we can, if we top deck a Spirit Mantle, we can win. Alright, we put our opponent to 1. It's very frustrating, so close to lethal. Do we jam the Light Pause here? Sure, why not? Could get blown up, we'll see. Alright, so opponent does have the Lightning Bolt in our end step for Light Pause. I didn't want to jam another Scout in case there was a follow-up Engineered Explosives. It's likely a Bowmasters for a Bogle here, so we need to find some way to push damage through. I guess we'll just leave everything until the second main, but we can escape the Sentinel's Eyes now. We can attack, we can force the trade with the first Bowmasters, and then Counterspell can do work against us. That's not ideal. What? Our opponent concedes? We stole the match? Man, I was for sure thought they had a Bowmasters there. Alright, GG's, on to the next one. Alright, welcome back to match number 3. We won the die roll. We won the die roll. No line to here, throw that one back. We lost the die roll in hands, right? Alright, so this 6 looks pretty good. We'll throw away the Spider Umbra. And a fairly good mixture of keywords after that. Alright, Darcy. So this time it looks like we have a real Murktide matchup, not like that fake Murktide matchup last game. Unfortunately, we can't deal with flying creatures, right? As gone into before, Hyena Umbra, the totem armor on it, really good against Dress Down. That effect stays on the aura, so when our creature gets hit by a Dress Down, it won't just die to a Lightning Bolt or Unholy Heat. Alright, so here we see the turn 2 Mishra's Bauble. Ragavan into the graveyard. Alright, our opponent's holding up mana. We see like Mishra's Bauble, a few bits and pieces. So there's fairly large likelihood that we see a counterspell from our opponent. I guess we just continue growing our creature with the Hyena Umbra. Hopefully this spell gets countered, then we can Rancor. We'll see. I think if this like resolves, we don't play Rancor. Alright, we'll do our attack for 4 damage here. And we'll keep this Darcy offline for a little bit longer. Alright, end of turn, we see a fetch into a Steam Vents. No basic island. Could be indicative that there's no main deck Blood Moon for this player. Alright, they just keep passing back and forth here and not tapping their mana during their turn. But I don't see a reason to play Rancor out into this. We have the pressure, we have the clock. Opponent chooses to block with Darcy this time, sure. We can resolve like Rancor in the future. Unholy Heat on their own Darcy for a Surveil trigger. Alright, they're digging. So they did put a Scalding Tarn into graveyard there. I guess we just play out the Temple Garden now. Hold up Besiege You. I'm expecting a Murktide from our opponent soon. In which is a follow-up. We can hopefully just Rancor. Hopefully they don't have Murktide plus Counterspell mana though. Expressive Iteration, you love to see it. Who ever said that? Yeah, just at this current point in the game, If we can get past a counterspell, past them putting chump blockers up, I'm pretty happy. Alright, looks like they're holding up counterspell. They actually put one into exile there. That's interesting. Does this just get countered? Because then we can Rancor attack. I think it's worth pulling the trigger here. Because we have 2 good auras. Yep. Alright. So we'll Rancor now. Alright, well, our client just crashed and then had a freak out, but we were eventually able to resolve Rancor. I'd floated the mana prior to it crashing. Sleight of hand for our opponent. Another sleight of hand. So this seems like they're setting up for a pretty big Murktide here now. Alright, Fatty Murktide. Ethereal Armor, Spirit Mantle off the top would be nice. Cool, there's an Ethereal Armor. What more can you ask for? Opponent concedes. Alright, so that would have added 5, making our creature 11 power. And it wouldn't have been quite lethal, but opponent's seen enough. Alright, so here we can see that some of the Murktide decks have been picking up Tishana's Tidebinder as of recent. That's interesting and good information. We can see the usual interaction suite there, the counter spells, even spell snare, the spell pierce, the creature removal as well. In the sideboard, we have to worry about engineered explosives, dress down, stern scolding, force of negation, subtlety, blood moon. There's a whole bunch of gross stuff to worry about here. We don't really want to sideboard too much here. If we go down on like our light pause, for example, then our rebuild potential post like board wipe is pretty bad. Maybe just like 1 force, 1 stony silence. Sentinel's Ice is pretty good. We might trim on Audacity. Our totem armor effects are really good. We definitely don't take those out. Maybe 1 Daybreak as well. Alright, so our opponent is keeping 7 cards. We see this 7. We've got like 1 source of evasion. It's a little bit awkward. We've got 1 source of mana. Again, a little bit awkward. I think we hope to top deck like 2 lands in a row and then just never see another land again. Of course, we see Rancor, which is a good card, but we'd hope to see something else. Opponent with the Stern Scolding. Alright, that's fine. We've got plenty more creatures in hand. Go on Dash Ragavan or something weird and then let us do our thing. You're just holding up Counterspell and we find Canopy cover. Alright, well that's pretty bad for us. We break on the lands and Stern Scolding is pretty frustrating. So our opponent has fetched a basic island into Preordained here. I say 1 top, 1 bottom there. I say the likelihood of our opponent having Blood Moon is pretty high here. I think we go light pause anyway though. Counterspell? Alright, sweet. I'm happy to see a counterspell on that. That just frees up the slot for Slippery Bogle to resolve hopefully in the future. Expressive Iteration during our opponent's own turn. Hopefully they're not holding up Stern Scolding or don't go Mana Counterspell. Oh, hello. Mana, Crack, Shock, Darcy. Okay. Can we resolve, or have you got Stern Scolding, Subtlety? Man, another Stern Scolding. That's a backbreaker. Alright, our win percentages have gone down pretty hard here now. Fatty Murktide, Counterspell mana on the side, 2 cards in hand, Darcy getting in. Darcy still only 1 power. Alright, creature off the top to resolve the win. Alright, I think we can concede there. Our opponent's got us dead in 2 attacks anyway, and we don't have life gain in hand. Being on the play, we're more likely to resolve our creatures past a Stern Scolding, right? So I don't think we want to change too much sideboard-wise. Let's just run it back here. 1 creature hand, a bit of interaction for our opponent. Good auras into Ragavan. Yep, this all looks pretty reasonable. Hey look, our scout resolves. Heck yeah. That's half the battle, right? Darcy, that's fine. We get a Griff Spoon off the top. That's pretty pogs. Let's go. We'll Sentinel's Eyes now, just to keep that on-field presence. We get to attack. Our opponent does not. Alright, here come the Surveil triggers. Let's see how we go. We can keep in mind that explosives could be coming down at some point, so you might not want to unload all your ethereal armors and audacities and as such, hyena umbras into that. Maybe just keep one totem armor on the board. Alright, what do we see now? Opponent holding up counterspell mana. Seems about right. Alright, we'll Griff Spoon. If they counterspell, we can hyena umbra. If not, we hold hyena umbra in hand. Alright, I think we just keep it in hand here. We go ahead, we attack for 4. We got flying now as well. This is a really good spot to be in. Pretty far ahead on tempo. I wish our creature was like a couple of points of damage bigger, but it's fine. End of turn, dress down. Alright, opponent, you need double Unholy Heat or Lightning Bolt here, because Totem Armor is going to still do its thing. Fingers crossed, let's see how we go. Alright, I'd love to see a basic island here. Tap it, damn, alright. Have you got double effect? That's the first one. Trigger, wait, what? Bug! That's a bug! No way, man. I swear... Is the Totem Armor text actually on the creature that whole time? I swear it wasn't. I've had tickets returned to me for this effect here. That's pretty bollocks, honestly. I'll double check that at the end of this match, but yeah, I'm pretty sure that's a bug again. Ah, Razor Verge Thicket off the top. Good stuff. Alright, let's see how we go. No creature. Alright, we're doomed. We brick on creature, we brick on land and stuff. I've just done a quick Google search. This was a thing from 2 years ago. Apparently it's a bug and it's an aura ability, so we just got absolutely bodied there for nothing. Oh, a Light Pause. Do you think Light Pause is going to resolve, guys? I highly doubt it. Alright, there's a Stern Scolding. Our opponent's got their nonsense here as well. Alright, our opponent is now attacking us for 5 damage here. We see a Murktide as well. There's a high likelihood that 1 mana remaining is for Stern Scolding, and we brick anyway. So for a bit of clarification, yeah, Totem Armor, bug. This is a judge ask forum. I guess we submit a ticket and get our entry points back. Alright, welcome back for match number 4. We have won the die roll here. We're keeping this Spicy 7 versing Devo Livera. Alright, and our opponent is on an Infect list by the looks of things, which is pretty damn bad for us. Thankfully, they lead on Venerated Rot Priest and not an Infect creature. This one just has Toxic. So let's jam, let's attack, let's try to race as fast as possible. Their lands so far have not dealt any damage to them. Alright, there's the Blighted Agent. Our opponent could possibly turn to kill us. This fella has Unblockable. Opponent attacking for 1. I think that's 1 normal damage, and I think Toxic's just when they target things right. I know one Toxic damage and 1 normal damage. Never mind. Ah, man, unfortunately... I think we're going to have just like slightly too little damage here. Like we can attack for 10 here. We've got no blockers whatsoever. And we need our opponent to have maybe a singular pump effect and no more. Holy cow, our opponent's conceded and we stole game 1 against Infect. This match is horrible. I'm not expecting games 2 or 3 to go this well. Alright, here we can see an Infect list. Apparently some of them are playing Phyrexian Crusader again. We can see Subtlety as well. Ignoble Hierarch, a good nod for their colours, as well as, or a good addition to Noble Hierarch for the Exalted effects. Slip out the back, getting some play. Love to see that. Royal Treatment, that would be pretty bad for us. Okay. Seiju 1.2, 95%. Sideboard, Force of Vigor, Spell Pierce, Stern Scolding. Yep, okay. And interestingly enough, it looks like they've moved off of all the Glistener Elves being in the main deck. It seems weird. I think I'm going to just bring in some Stony Silencers in case our opponent's packing Spell Skites. Canopy Cover doesn't seem very good here. Spirit Mantle seems slow. I don't see us wanting any of these other effects. Maybe a Dramoka's command could be okay, but in most worlds we're just going to be shrinking our creature, which is terrifying. Okay, we got a Light Pause hand with Stony Silence for if our opponent's leaning on Spellskite. And we're 1 land and 1 Ethereal Armor off of a turn 3 kill. I think we keep this. Opponent has kept a 6-card hand, and Noble Hierarch means Blighted Agent turn 2 normally. We'll Windswept Teeth. We've got our land. Now we just need our Ethereal Armor by turn 3. Alright, Preordained first up. They have kept 2 cards on top of their library. Blighted Agent has been slammed. Alright, end of turn, Temple Garden. Should just shock for Ballast, right? Spider Umbra off the top. That is not Ethereal Armor. Alright, we need to survive 1 attack. We need to rip Ethereal Armor, and we can attack for the win. Alright, trigger. We got a 2-2. How big is he growing? Alright, we take 2 damage. We're alive. Come on, Ethereal Armor. That is not an Ethereal Armor. So we can get close, but we can't quite get there, right? Alright, I guess we'll see what we can do. Our opponent could be packing to Dismember here. That would be interesting. Alright, Hyena Umbra finds Ethereal Armor. Audacity should find Rancor, and then we'll get like Vigilance off the Spider Umbra. It's possible he's got like a Spell Pierce as well as a counterspell interaction. Okay. Force of Negation, hard cast. Sure. 3 cards left in our opponent's hand. Force of Vigor on these 2 before the Spider Umbra is resolved, and now we get our pick of the auras. Okay. Just has to be Ethereal Armor attack, right? I can't see anything else here. Again, we can't block at all, so that's fine. We'll just go like that. Opponent Force of Vigor pitching Force of Vigor. Crazy. Breeding Pool, intapped, 1 card in hand. Opponent attacking, Exalted Trigger. So they need to give +6 to kill us this attack. Alright, just normal damage. Cool, we're on 4 Infect. Listener Elf has been played out. Alright, we are gaming. Rancor off the top. Let's go, team. Alright, Daybreak Coronet. We may be able to get lethal here. Alright, so first things first. We already have Vigilance. We just want as much raw damage as possible now. We have a Rancor in hand. So if we get Rancor, we get Audacity. And then that's lethal through blockers. Heck yeah. 18 damage. Read and Weep, Infect. Let's go, Team Bogle. Match number 5. We have lost the die roll here. Versing Braccaroni. Having a quick look at their match history, it looks like they do actually play mono green Tron sometimes in Modern, but they play a rainbow of formats. So we'd be versing Tron here, which a Light Pause hand is actually pretty reasonable against. If it's not Tron, we probably should mulligan this hand. Yeah, this is not a good Light Pause matchup right now. Immediately punished. Scout off the top, immediately rewarded. Yep, all's forgiven deck. Grixis Shadow? No, that came in tapped. Cathartic Reunion. We're versing Dredge. Holy moly. What tech have they got going on now? Otherworldly Gaze. We know about that one. Dark Blast. Alright, nothing new. We've been smacked down pretty low to start with, though. Fetch a basic. Totem Armor. Rancor. Attack. Alright, Daybreak Coronet next turn. We can resolve it. We can get Lifelink going. That would be really good. So our opponent is casting Ox from the graveyard. Silver Smite Ghouls. Another Creeping Chill. Is that their 3rd Creeping Chill? That's their 4th Creeping Chill, man. Holy smokes. Well, they have gone through 2/3 of their deck now. We go to 7. We're going to get our Daybreak Coronet happening. A land that doesn't hurt us would be nice. Add some more power. Alright, we'll have to make do without. These guys are tapped. Attack for 7. Go back to 14. Good news is our opponent does not have any more creeping chills, and they probably don't have very good main deck interaction for us. Cathartic Reunion. Bricking. Looks like the other Ox is returning. Opponent, you've only got 14 cards left in your library. How deep are we wanting to escape here? Stinkweed Imps. Conflagrates. Thriving Discoveries. Narcomoeba to the bin. 5 on the deck. 2 in the deck. Alright. They've mathed fairly well. They can't attack into us, I don't feel, because we net more damage, more life gain and more damage on crackback. I guess the Narcomoebas can certainly attack. Alright, we take 2. Prized Amalgams Unite. Sentinel's Eyes off the top. Beautiful. Keep the auras coming. We love to see them. Attack for 10. First Strike. Trample. Lifelink. Vigilance. All the good keywords, but reach currently. Opponent down to just 1 card in the deck. I don't think that they're going to be dredging this time. Our opponent has conceded the match, and we continue to be the bane of Dredge's existence. Alright, here we can see a Dredge tech that came 7th in a modern challenge. Like 9-1 finish, I think it was. So pretty spicy. Made the top 8. Portable holes in modern. Here it is. Get ready for it. You can see a couple of Thought Seizers. We can see a bunch of Wear Tears. We should be fairly well placed from what I've seen here. I think the Wear Tear is actually less interaction than normally. I think it's normally Nature's Claim, Force of Vigor, right? The time has come. We are boarding Endurance in. It's not against the aforementioned Yawgmoth or Living End, but here we go. 3 copies coming in against Dredge. Going to take out a Canopy Cover, an Audacity, and a Spider Umbra. No green mana. Boo. Opponent's mulling into 6. We've done the same. We can keep this one. Bottom 1 Daybreak Coronet. We've got Endurance interaction, potentially. Alright, just a turn 1 land for our opponent. No other effects just yet. Temple Garden. Here we go. Another Daybreak off the top for us. If we hit a land, we Spirit Mantle, leave the Spider Umbra in hand. Cathartic Reunion. Discarding these fellas. Draw 3 cards. I think we just shut off what they're doing now with the Evoke. Let's go ahead. Target our opponent. Yeah, do the thing. Just really slow them down a whole turn. Land. Come on, let's go. Rewarded. Alright. Hopefully we dodge Wear Tears. Alright, Steam Vents into play tapped there. Let's go. Opponent representing Wear Tear. Nature's Claim. Play into it. Attack. Put that pressure on. Let's go. Sacred Foundry. In tapped. Any creatures. Any dredging. No dredging. We've shut them down. Let's go, team. Thin the deck. Light Paws off the top. Just keep going with these Daybreaks. Yeah, cool. Opponent's hard yield. Attack. Put them to 2. We've got protection from creatures right now. And our opponents conceded the match. We 3-2 after a bug. That damn Totem Armor bug versus Dress Down. And pretty good result. So what a league this one was. Our opponent... We took down Infect. We absolutely slapped Dredge at the end there as well. Yeah, a little bit of a shame about that bug. But, I mean, yeah, Endurance... Look at it. It just single-handedly won us match 2 against Dredge there. Completely shut down everything they were doing. Really nice stuff there. I think all other cards in the deck are fairly justified. The biggest asterisk is like in front of Canopy Cover. I still think it requires more testing. I think when it's good, it's going to be very good. I still haven't versed Shadow since I've been running this card though. So obviously, sorry, not Shadow. I haven't versed Hammer Time since I've been running this card. So turning off their Shadow Spear hasn't really come up. I also have not like Daybreak Coronated and then protected the Light Paws with a triggered Canopy cover. I'd like to do that somewhat soon. But yeah, cool. The deck actually seems reasonably placed at the moment. Scam took a big nerf, but it's still around, strangely enough. Here we can see the spread of cards decks we're actually concerned about. So we've got the Yawgmoth, we've got the hate against that in Endurance. We've got the Amulet, we've got the hate there in Force of Vigor, although the Amulet matchup is pretty terrible for us. They seem to really consistently get 3 Amulets and like a Titan on turn 3 at the moment. Footfalls, I like that matchup without sideboarding anything. Murktide, we don't really have to sideboard too much there, if anything. Living End, we've got the tech ready for it. Scam, we've got the tech ready for that. Tron, yep, Stony Silence, yeah. I think we're in a reasonable spot. It's just going to be about how consistent we can be. So, if you like the video, be sure to let me know down below. I have got a sideboard guide. So I did do a Dropbox file in my previous 2 videos. One person commented saying that wasn't working. Let me know if it's still not working. I might just throw the whole list up on MTG, like Moxfield. Do the whole primer on there for you all, but there's a good amount of detail in there for some matchups. I'm going to continue to add to this as I verse various decks, but yeah, thank you all so much for watching the video. I do hope you enjoyed it. As always, make sure to let me know what you thought down below. 46-minute league, can't complain too much. All right, have a wonderful day. We'll see you next time.